can fly.
Welcome back. We're here with Kent Roberts, and today we have a key question that we'd like to seek Mr. Roberts' insight on as a practitioner and thought leader in terms of civility for the past few decades. Mr. Roberts was co-founder of the Civility Center for years and on the executive for many years as well. Mr. Roberts, we're wondering, what is your view of if or how the media can unwittingly or otherwise foster incivility? And then part two of that question is, how can we help fix this issue?
Well, it's an excellent question. And, it boils down to intent and understanding what people want. If you want division or if you want controversy, you like to somehow you feel that conflict sells, then you can use civility or lack of civility any way you wish to keep and to drive those wedges in the division within there. You can tell somebody is uncivil, or that isn't a very, it can be used in many different ways. And when you're dealing with the media, you have a way of, in my mind, we've dehumanized interaction, civil discourse, civil interaction, and so on. And when it is dehumanized, it's real easy to let those negative thoughts in and all the other divisive rhetoric, the hate speech and all that stuff flow in. So it's, you've almost created a context where people are not human with each other. It's a lot harder to start down some of these roads in these paths if you're looking face to face with somebody and you're having a genuine conversation. And I mean, so we've created ways in which it has, again, like I said, dehumanizes by the lack of really face to face and not even anonymous quotes and posts and not knowing who the other person you're talking to, and it just escalates. Someone gives on a scale of 1 to 10, gives a barb of a 2, a person comes back with a 4, and before long, the whole conversation is up to around a level of 8 or a 9, and nothing of value is going to grow from that. And so it's a lack of understanding of the purpose of civility. I know I keep going back to that, but if people don't understand the true value of civil conversation and civil discourse, we will continue to just kind of degrade into other different types of conversations that once some of those words are said, nothing of value is going to happen. And of course, this is a way that some people disarm people who are trying to do good or are trying to do better. They throw in words easily, they get things, they drop a card here or there, and all of a sudden we're off on a different tangent and nothing new is being discovered and nothing new is being built upon. And people just end up defending and digging their heels in to where they're at before, and nothing better comes of it.
Wow, that's it's true. We can see that happening in mainstream media and online. It's almost a daily occurrence, and this digging in of heels and defensiveness seems to be sort of the norm. And it's true, we see very little progress being made, very little critical thinking being engaged in, and very little forward motion. And so what do you think, Kent, is the solution? How can we start to address that and change the outcome?
We've got to stay away from playing certain cards, if that makes sense. Because once we posture, once you posture and defend, nothing new is going to happen. And so if I don't want anything to happen, if I'm a boss and I don't want things bubbling up that I'm going to have to deal with, or if I'm in a community and I don't want to have to deal with this certain age-old problem we've dealt with, and whatever the case may be, something that may cost money and I'm into austerity, or I can give a million different examples. But once you can get people to posture and form the lines that you can just imagine in your mind, people doing conversations where they go back to their corners and they're in their corner now and they're going to fight from their corner, nothing new happens. And somewhere somebody is laughing because they didn't want better. They like what we have very much, thank you. And they don't see the need for this to grow. So one of the things that we have to be aware of, don't let people goad you into the traditional fights that we can get into, whether it's around gender or race or economic status or all these other things. They can keep people into those fights and they put them in those buckets and pockets, and we go there. Be smarter than that and say, I understand all that, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this. I want to know. I want to understand. I want to learn from you. I want to really hear you. I want to know what's going on in your mind. I want to understand the thinking behind this. And maybe you'll listen to me then. And then maybe from this new understanding, now that we can build something different. So we've got to get the media, and I believe the media, once they get those conversations going, it's going to feel good, and they're going to also know that it's just not conflict that sells. Sometimes it's community that sells. It's kind of shared understanding that sells. Collective action sells. I mean, that's what in all their segments, they want collective action, but at the same time, they don't understand their role in not allowing collective understanding and knowledge to be gained. So we have to educate, and we have to do these in small projects, and we have to do things that we can just build upon. Something that we're not going to get caught and say, no, we're not going there. Just make it part of the ground rules that you're not going to get divided into your camps and start fighting each other. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And it's true. We've gotten into these bad habits of just sort of forging ahead, and everybody's looking for their few minutes of fame. Many people perceive themselves to be influencers who don't have, the education or experience or really legs to make an argument. The debating skills and this art of civil dialogue has certainly fallen by the wayside. And to your point, it's about education. It's about helping people understand that we need to strive for different and engage in different habits in terms of our communication and approach, because clearly what we're doing is not working. So once again, we have just a few minutes here. And if you had to make one suggestion, are there any I guess
I do have,
role models?
well,
Sorry?
I have strong feelings about abundance versus scarcity. And I really want us to think abundantly. The whole idea of positive compared to negative. What's right, not what's wrong. And so what's our strengths? Build upon what it is that we do well. What is that, we don't want to get caught, that negative energy that people always want to just build off scarcity, and that's fear. And so the difference between abundance and fear and hope and the possibility of things compared to just the negative of things. So if we stay in the positive, if we start working and we just say, well, we're not here to talk about what's wrong, we're here to talk about what's right. What is it that we agree that we're right on, and how can we make that better? That will get us quicker, faster to where I think we need to go.
The reason why each of us comes to this earth, and know what you're capable of until you try.